Hi, my name is PatrickBoylan. I'm a co-founder of MuseFlow. And in this episode, you will be learning how to overcome your fear of failure, in learning how to play an instrument, but also in life in general, and learning how to be adaptable. We never really were taught how to learn properly. In this episode, we'll be covering that and lots more like it.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, your premier destination for exclusive insights into the journeys of industry trailblazers. Now, I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got a guest whose story harmoniously blends creativity, resilience, and innovation. Now, Patrick, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm loving life, man. You know, I was just looking at your story and your journey, and I was just like, wow, who puts together Steve Jobs and Beethoven all in the same space or in the same sentence? And I was like, hey, who but Patrick? And I don't know if I've gotten the right people there for the music.
You got the right, yeah, you got the right people. Yeah. I'm honored. I'm honored to be compared, to those trailblazers as well. Beethoven and Steve Jobs, both trailblazers in their own right.
Well, if people realize what you're working on, I mean, obviously they will definitely be putting you in that sort of realm. But for those that are watching, thank you so much for tuning into the Online Prosperity Show. And as I have said, this is where we share all the exclusive insights into the journeys of industry trailblazers. Now, I want you to imagine being maybe a young musician. I was actually talking to Patrick earlier on, and I told him I can't even play a musical instrument. The only instrument I can play is the iPod or my phone. And but he actually is a musical genius. But before all of that came by, he was so honest at some point in his life that he actually urged his parents to get a divorce just so that everyone around there would be happy. Now, that was a bold move in and of itself, and it actually hints at a life of unfiltered authenticity and also innovation without bounds. Okay, and this is something that we're going to be exploring in Patrick's journey and how it actually unfolds. So Patrick is a multi-instrumentalist and also co-founder of MuseFlow, an AI-driven education platform that's transforming how we learn piano. So from his early days in the Windy City in Chicago to the vibrant music scene of LA, Patrick's journey is a testament to following one's passion, even when it means having to pivot. And he has done that quite a lot, from acting to music, and now really, fighting against tradition with the way that he is teaching people how to actually learn the musical instruments, especially the piano. So in this episode, we're going to dive into Patrick's past experiences, his current work with MuseFlow, and also the innovative methods that he is employing. And why I think his story might just resonate with some of your aspirations. So whether you're a budding musician, an entrepreneur, or just somebody seeking inspiration, I want you to stay tuned because you don't want to miss this. Now, Patrick, I could go on and on, and if I was at the Grammys, they would be starting to play that music. You know what I mean? So why don't you just take me out of my misery? For somebody who doesn't know who you are, just briefly let us know what, just state your case, who you are and what it is that you're doing for the world.
I'm a multi-instrumentalist here in Los Angeles, specifying right now on piano and voice. I have a couple of different residencies here in Los Angeles playing background jazz at restaurants around town, and then also at a piano bar that I love so dearly. Throughout the weekend and throughout the weeks, I have just those regular gigs that are great. And then On the other end, like on the evenings that I don't play at those places, I have other gigs that I play. So playing in the evening, playing piano, singing, and then during the day, I'm working on this music education app called MuseFlow that is teaching in a different way than the traditional ways of teaching.
Absolutely. Now, how did you learn how to play all these instruments?
I learned piano first. Traditionally, I learned it with private teacher. My private teacher, Randy Balkis, shout out to that guy. Love the dude. But I was terrible. I was a terrible student. And I think the reason why I was a terrible student was because I didn't really like the way that the traditional method of teaching taught. Let me just kind of lay it out for you, right? Because Prosper, you don't know how to play an instrument, right? So
I can play the iPod, so that's on record.
sure. Okay, but here's how you like learn how to play an actual instrument. The way that you're usually taught, and I bet you anything, a lot of people have had this experience before. Your teacher gives you a new note or a new rhythm, a new technique, shall we say. They then are given a song to go home and practice, repeating that same song over and over and over to perfection. And then they come back and their teacher stamps the approval or says, no, you got to go home and practice again. That same song until you get it perfect. And then you move to the next song and a new skill, new note or new rhythm. That doesn't work for me. That didn't work for me. I took 8 years of lessons and I hated every minute of it. And I barely learned anything because I was a terrible student. I was really bad. And so then after my teacher retired, I ended up just going back to the piano and finding little phrases that I really loved, like little motifs, little melodies or something. Maybe I really enjoyed playing it in my hands, like it felt really good, or I loved what it sounded like. I pulled that from some sheet music my parents had. I just found it. I was just trying to play through, and I'm like, oh, I really love that little snippet, right? Pulled that out, and I embodied it. I just closed the sheet music and I improvised around that little phrase, putting it in multiple different contexts, changing the tempo, the pace, putting it in different keys, all that stuff, right? That is how I learned how to play piano. Yes, I took 8 years of lessons, but that method of taking bite-sized chunks and truly kinesthetically ingraining them in my body through improvisation, that was really how I learned how to play. Cut to college, I was the only acting major that knew how to play piano. Bunch of musical theater majors were throwing music in front of me, and I kept being able to play it. They wanted to practice it for auditions, and I could just play it at first sight. And I'm like, that's crazy. What a crazy skill to know. I never learned those songs before. How can I play them though? And I realized that the method that I had been using to teach myself was the method that made it so easy for me to be able to recognize, oh, I know that little phrase. I know that little motif. I know that little pattern already because I had already played it in a different song. I had learned it kinesthetically, truly being able to play it properly outside the context of songs through improvisation, that when I saw it in another song, I could replicate it. That process, that iterative kinesthetic learning, that is ultimately what MuseFlow is. Because here I am now a professional pianist, and like, there's something to the way that I taught myself that could be very useful to other people. It turns out it actually is. People are loving it.
Can only imagine, because I kind of feel like the whole music, especially like the physical instruments, is gate capped, just so that there's not that many maybe classical people that then end up honing the craft. Now, is there something that was just akin to Patrick or all the other kids that were also going through that, were experiencing that sort of, disconnect with what they were being taught as to what they were actually learning?
I don't think people really recognize it. I only recognized it in retrospect because I had taught myself how to learn piano. I learned it in a different way. I only recognized the disconnect after the fact. Grant, you look at the stats though, and there's 85% of people that learn how to play an instrument in junior high or high school, in elementary school days. 85% stop playing after they graduate high school and they go into university. They stop playing. They just stop playing. And they cite that they were frustrated with the way that they were being taught. They were frustrated with it, or they were bored with it. They weren't engaged with the process of learning that instrument. And so that's what I think that was when I saw that stat, it just kind of clicked to me that, oh, there's a problem with the way that we're being taught. It's not that music is hard to learn. It's not that people don't want to learn how to play instruments. It's that the process of learning how to play an instrument is steeped in tradition. It has been taught this way for thousands upon thousands of years, and nobody's innovated on it yet. That's the problem.
But if you would look at the instruments that are regarded as classical instruments, those pretty much haven't changed ever since they were sort of invented. Yes, maybe newer materials are now being used, but the whole framework and aspect of the tool or the instrument is still the same. A piano is still an upright thing with black and white keys, if that's what you call them. And sorry if I'm calling them the wrong thing. No.
That's okay. You're not wrong, though. The instruments haven't changed. There are new instruments that are popping up every day, but the instruments have not changed. You're not wrong about that. I do think that with the advent of technology, we haven't kind of capitalized on that. We haven't found a new way to engage the populace in the way of learning an instrument. We haven't found that. MuseFlow is doing that. That is what we're doing. We are engaging the populace in a different way of learning an instrument that is more engaging, that's more gratifying, and more effective. I can say that because we have statistics on this, like a qualitative and quantitative metrics. And I'm excited to get more people to try it out. It's a different way of learning that's engaging you in what is called flow state. Do you know what that is? The flow state?
Absolutely. You know, you just broken my flow right now, Patrick. I was listening to you. Okay. So
I'm sorry. Asking you a question. Yeah. Flow is that sort of, I'm so deeply ingrained in the present and I'm challenged just perfectly enough to where my skill matches that challenge. Everybody wants a challenge. It's just a human nature sort of thing. We all want to be challenged just a little bit. Now that, of course, depends on who you are. Some people want to be challenged a lot. Some people want to be challenged very little. So it's a very personal thing. Where is your flow state? What is your flow state, right? And so we engage you in the process of learning by putting personalization first and by putting flow state at the center of it. I used improvisation as the engine of my curriculum when I was younger. What we do instead, because not everybody can improvise around playing an instrument just yet, especially at the beginning, we do what is called sight reading, the act of reading music at first sight. Okay? So we give you a new note, a new rhythm, a new note, whatever it may be. We give you a new skill. And then we immediately get you playing. From note number one, we give you music you've never seen before that never repeats. That's the key there. Never repeats, right? So that you can truly learn this and embody the skill outside of rote memorization. That's what we've been doing for thousands of years. We've been teaching people through rote memorization. That was their engine of the curriculum. But our engine, we've kind of flipped it on its head and said, no, let's teach you through sight reading. You know, music you've never seen before that never repeats. It's continuously generating and keeping you in that pocket of that flow state where you're just perfectly challenged, just right outside of your skill level. So you're not frustrated because you're doing it too much, because you're being too pushed on the outside of your boundaries and your abilities, or you're bored. You know, it's too easy for you. No. I want to keep you right in that pocket, right? So that's kind of how we're doing it. The antiquated way and the traditional way of teaching music has always been through songs, through written songs that is just always, it's there. It never changes. It's always the same, no matter how you play it. So that rote memorization becomes the dominant form of learning instead of truly kinesthetically embodying the skill that you want to learn. We're adding a new step before learning songs.
Absolutely. It's like, was it Beethoven? I did mention, Beethoven, who actually took a pencil and would put it on the piano so that they could feel the music. And then that's a kinesthetic sort of methodology that you're sort of referring to here, right? That people can actually feel, and then it becomes a part of them instead of if this then that, which is binary, if
Yes.
yes, okay, understandable.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we want to get it in your body. We don't want to get it in your mind. We want to get it in your body so that you can replicate that new note or that new rhythm in sequence with other notes and rhythms. So you can replicate them when you see an actual song, We want to get you to a place of truly embodying that first so that, again, when you see songs that use those new skills, you can then play it much easier. Because really, learning songs is boring. Learning how to play specific songs, that's a very boring technique to do. Repeating the same things over and over and over to perfection, that's boring. At least I find that boring. And there are thousands of other people out there that also find that boring. And so we want to get you to a place where you can play that song proficiently and fluently faster. Because that part of just actual practicing that song is pretty boring. So that you can get to the fun part of playing music, which is, why am I playing a song? Why? What about the sequence of notes and those rhythms are interesting? And how do I, as the musician, want to play it that way? That's up to you. You get to make that choice. And so we want to allow you to get you to a place where you can start making those decisions faster.
Now, Patrick, have you ever hit Randy up for a refund?
No, because he's such a lovely guy. And look, he gave me the foundation of like how to actually read music. He did. He taught me something. Okay. I'm not gonna. No, he's a lovely dude.
Yeah. After we finish this, just send me his details. I'll write a review based on.
No, no, I will not, Prosper. I will not. No.
Great stuff. But in the 8 years that you were trying and everything else, did you get any support from anywhere else, or maybe were people empathetic with your quest, or was it just, it is what it is?
Yeah, they were very much, it is what it is. My parents had to ground me to practice. I wasn't practicing because I was bored with the process or too frustrated with the process. I was never finding that flow state. And so my parents, absolutely, they had to ground me because I wasn't practicing. And so they kept me in over the weekends and they said, no, sit down. You said you wanted to do this, Pat. When I was 8 years old, I asked them for piano lessons I did. So I'm the one that got myself in this situation to start. And they were like, you got yourself in this situation, Pat. You got to practice. And so, yeah, I ended up doing it. But I do thank them every day now because, again, I'm now a pianist and it's my main source of income. And I love it. I love doing what I do. And I thank them every day for being the ruler on my hands, so to speak, It's
quite fascinating that obviously at age 8, you sort of already knew what it is that you wanted at that particular time. Would you maybe go back to that age and know who you wanted to be as an adult, and did that pan out, or was that just, a thing of the time?
I think it was a thing of the time. I did not ever consider this to be a profession. I knew it was. One of my mentors is a professional pianist in Chicago, Joe Krieger. He's a great family friend of ours. I love him, and he's a mentor of mine still. He was a professional pianist when I was 8, and I saw him, and we actually I saw him play at the bars that he played at, and so I knew it could be a profession, but I didn't ever think that I wanted to do that myself. No. This was just like an interesting hobby at the time.
Absolutely, because I was gonna now ask if your parents were very much involved in this thing, but you did mention that they were just, grounding you and things of that nature. Did they themselves play, or what sort of support did they bring that then? Because 8 years is quite a long time for somebody to be lugging whatever instruments and still not finding joy in it.
I definitely tried to find as much joy as I could. I picked up different instruments. That's the way that started playing with more people. I started singing and I started playing clarinet, and then I played tuba for a little bit. I played guitar. Like all of these other instruments, I ended up playing with more people. And so that is really where that community aspect comes into play. Like community is huge when you're playing music with other people. The joy that you can get from that is incredible. My parents did they were both singers. And so they were very musical. We were a very musical family, but they never played piano. But we did have a lot of music in our home. We listened to a lot of music. We sang a lot of music. Joe, whenever he came on over, he always sat down at the piano and we always came around and we always sang with him around the piano. We did that for Christmas time. We always did our Christmas carols around the piano and stuff. And so, yeah, we were a very musical household. And they definitely supported me in ways of encouraging me to pursue other instruments. The reason why I started playing clarinet was because my sister played clarinet. She's older than me. She's 2 years older than me. And so I wanted to follow in her footsteps. The reason why I started doing musicals was because of my parents. They were like, hey, you should audition for the musical, this year in high school. Sophomore year of high school, you should audition. And I was like, okay, all right. So I auditioned and there you go. So yes, they did encourage for sure.
Absolutely. So now, I mean, obviously being brought in a family that's that musical and, so much harmony, happening within that household, it would have been a perfect place for you to learn and actually, foster that and, talent of yours that was happening.
I don't know if I would have pursued it as hard as I did if they didn't ground me. If they didn't say, no, Pat, you got to stay inside and practice. I don't think I would have pursued it as hard as I did. I don't. So again, I thank them for that. But the idea of MuseFlow is that discipline becomes a thing of the past. You don't need discipline to learn your instrument with MuseFlow. Instead, you're going to be inspired to want to play because you're dropping into that flow state, because it's so personalized, and you're just continually playing music that you've never seen before, and then songs get unlocked after that. It's this gratification that you get from the process of learning that I never got when I was a kid. In lessons, I never got that joy of learning. And so that's kind of what we're trying to capture, is that aha moment, that spark of, oh my gosh, I'm getting it. I'm actually getting it. Boom, you pass a level, dopamine hits, and you want to continue on.
Absolutely. Now, you've gone on and created MuseFlow, which integrates AI, and I could actually hear classical music people screeching on their violin right now and scrapping the wood or fine timber off of a piano right now. And because they are thinking you are trying to integrate technology into the arts, which takes away that, natural flow of what, music is supposed to be. Now, how does MuseFlow ensure the preservation of, first of all, creativity while you're integrating it with AI?
So I will say full disclosure, the AI part it's not a part of the learning process. We generate a lot of our music through AI. So, and then you have to have a very specific, you have to have a person come on in and massage those phrases, right? So AI driven, yes, meaning the music that you're seeing was first written by a generative algorithm. And then a human goes in and touches it up, right? So yes, we're including AI into it. We're going to be including a lot more of that. A lot of our machine learning is going to be pattern recognition. We're already training these algorithms as we speak, meaning if we can recognize that you have a series of notes that you're always hitting wrong. You're always playing them wrong, you know, or certain intervals or certain durations in a row, we can recognize those patterns and then give you more music that uses that specific pattern in it so that through exposure therapy, you can then learn that specific pattern faster than other metrics that we're tracking, right? So the way that we're building our system, that's going to be integrated later down the road. Right now, that is not integrated yet, right? That's not to take away, though, from the musicianship that is necessary to be able to actually effectively communicate an idea through playing an instrument. There's kind of two sections here, okay? There's two things here. One is how to technically play your instrument proficiently. What notes do I play? When I see a note on the screen, what note do I hit? How do I play that in harmony with other notes? And how do I play that at a certain tempo, pace, right? Got to play it at a certain pace. So I have to learn how to play my instrument technically well. That's one skill level, okay? The other skill that is very much a part of music performance is what is called musicianship. It is the questions of why do I want to play that song that way? How do I effectively communicate the idea of that composition? How do I, as the performer, effectively communicate that to an audience? Now, those are the questions that are really fun to answer and to start really working with. We've got many things that you can do as a musician to effectively communicate your idea. We've got what are called crescendos, which is going from soft to loud. We've got diminuendos, which is going from loud to soft. We got stuff like staccato, which is boop, 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 which is very spaces, the space in between those notes. Boop, 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 boop. We've got rests, which is silence. We've got legatos, which is doo, 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 doo. It's very flowy. It's very like water, you know? So we've got all of these different techniques that you can do and use as a musician to effectively communicate your idea of that song to the audience. All we're doing with MuseFlow is getting you to play your instrument technically proficiently. We're not taking away that human element, which is how do I want to play those songs? We have a couple teachers that use MuseFlow with their students. What they're doing is they're assigning levels to their students so that they can learn the new skill, whether that's a new note or a new rhythm, a new time signature, a new hand position, whatever it may be, in the app so that when they come to lessons, they can actually focus on the fun parts of playing music. Again, making those decisions on how you're going to play that song. That's the fun part, and that is the very human part of playing music. We don't want to take that away at all. We believe that humans are so integral to playing music and also teaching music. They're so integral to it, but specifically within the realm of musicianship, you know, again, outsource the teaching of technique to MuseFlow all you want. All day, every day, they can learn how to play their instrument technically proficient with MuseFlow. We're not going to ever want to teach you how to play a song emotionally effectively so that an audience understands that the song Frolic Through a Forest sounds like a person frolicking through a forest. That's going to be on you to make those decisions. That's going to be the human that makes those decisions. Never want to take that away.
Absolutely. Okay, fine. So with that being said, that creates a lot of fear because you're putting a lot of pressure on the person to then do the actual performance. If you say the actual, music playing is, not necessarily the hardest part, and then you now say it's on you then to then create the communication that you want with your customers. How do you help people overcome that fear? Because, you know what I mean? There will be a barrier like intimidation or self-doubt that then comes about, on that last mile that you then leave the student or the person learning to then perform and create that for the audience.
What's interesting is that we've found that the anxiety that comes from playing an instrument, like 95% of the anxiety comes from not being able to play a song technically proficiently. The other 5% of that anxiety is, am I effectively communicating the idea? Because the problem here is like, we want to get you to a place where you can learn a song much faster. That's the goal with MuseFlow, right? And so everything we've built is designed for that specific purpose, is to raise the threshold of your ability to play that song technically proficiently so that you'll have more time and more mind space to make those decisions on how to effectively communicate the idea of a song. Again, that's the fun part. The anxiety of playing a song does not come from, am I able to effectively communicate this idea? No. The anxiety comes from, am I going to be able to play this perfectly? That's the anxiety. Perfectionism kills creativity. So if we can get you to a place where you're playing that song perfectly faster, you can then have more time to flesh out the idea of that song. From what I can tell, and I am just one person, though I am an expert in my field, from what I can tell and from my own experience, my anxiety of playing a song never was around, can I effectively communicate this idea? It was always around, can I play this song perfectly? That's where the fear of failure comes into play. When you're thinking about perfectionism and you're thinking about being playing it perfectly, like that messes with the whole the whole thing, you know?
But there's something about music where obviously if we make a mistake with this recording, we could always skip those parts, right? But you've been playing music live in places like Tramp Stamp, Granny's, and in LA there. How has these sort of live performance influence your approach to maybe the education of music and also that user experience of how people are interacting with MuseFlow?
That's just a wonderful question, and it's something that I love talking about because I make countless mistakes when I'm playing at the piano bar. I make 300, 400 a night. I'm constantly messing up, okay? Now, if we're focused on being perfect, right, then that is going to impede your ability to communicate your idea effectively, okay? Now, if I'm just present and I'm entertaining a crowd of hundreds and they're right there with me and they're singing the song and I'm singing the song and we're having a great time, that's all that matters at the end of the day. If you're too focused on being perfect, you're never going to enjoy that connection with an audience. So here I am messing up all the time. I'm constantly screwing up, right? But it doesn't matter because they're still engaged. They're still with me and I'm still with them. And even if I mess up to the point of messing them up, I apologize and we move on. I don't care. It doesn't matter as long as they're still having a good time and I'm still having a good time. That's all that matters at the end of the day. So if you flub a word, if you flub a line, if you flub a note, if you play the wrong chord, again, it doesn't matter. Just keep moving forward and keep going. Perfectionism kills creativity. I'll say it to the day I die. We're all about progress, not perfection. That's where real creativity comes into play. So what we're doing with MuseFlow is we're teaching that adaptability. We're teaching that tenacity of continuously playing, no matter how many notes you mess up. I was on the call with a co-founder of ours. He has never touched a keyboard in his life. And when we started this project, and now he's at level 15. And he's actually growing. He's growing. He's actually able to play the music at level 15. He completed that level. He passed it. And then he immediately started going into the actual repertoire library and being like, okay, cool. What song got unlocked? All right, great. That song? Cool. I'm going to play that song right now. And we're just like sitting there like, oh gosh, okay. All right, great. And so he started playing that song, smile on his face, messing up all over the place. He was just messing up so much. And he just kept going. He just kept on playing, smile on his face, kept on playing. And he got to the end of that song and he was like, awesome, that was a fun song. And we looked at his accuracy and it was 40% accuracy. He got 60% of that song wrong, but he still had a great time. And he was still enjoying himself. And then, this is the clincher. This is where it comes into play, okay? Because he had learned the skills necessary to play that song before he actually learned that song, the next time that he played that song, he immediately went back to the beginning and he played it straight on through. He got 85% accuracy correct at that time. And then the next time, 95% accuracy. And the next time, he played it perfectly. It only took him 4 times to play it perfectly. Whereas if his teacher were to have assigned that song to him at a certain day, he would have had an entire week of practicing that song over and over and over, because the traditional way of teaching music doesn't do it in this sort of flow state kinesthetic sort of way that you're truly embodying the skills necessary to play those songs. No, you're just learning each specific song, right? Anyway, point is like, failure is a part of the process. It's inevitable and it's going to happen. So we want to lower the fear of failure by just allowing it to be a part of the process and not emphasizing it. You know, we're all about positive reinforcement and what is called the Montessori method of teaching, which is praising progress over perfection. Oh my gosh, we saw that you worked so hard at overcoming that obstacle. Well done. Instead of, well done, you played it perfectly. That's 2 very different praising, positive reinforcements. One is about perfection and the other is about praising the progress and your progress of overcoming something. That's a whole different process of positive reinforcement. We care more about that way than praising perfection. So anyway, all of that being said, is failure is a part of playing music. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Don't get upset with it when it happens. Just keep on moving forward and iterate. Enjoy the process. And that's what we're trying to do, is get you to a place where you're actually enjoying the process of learning those specific skills to then play those specific songs.
I like that a lot, because half of the time when we do make a mistake, only ourselves and a select few people will recognize. If you're playing in a bar, everybody's just now on to the next thing, and they're even singing on top of that. Now they're focused on how does my voice sound in this whole grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things. While you were talking, I was actually thinking of how we've got a, I don't know what you call it. Is it oh, my words are running away because of the flow state that you kept mentioning. But it's called an idiom, or like a metaphor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
The bird does not worry about landing on a dry twig that could snap, at any moment, because it's fully confident of its wings. So in the instance of where you guys are teaching people, you're not necessarily getting people to follow some sort of a recipe. You're getting people to come in and create as and when it feels. And then that really creates a whole different output than when somebody can only play Hotel California, and if that's the only song that's there, that's it. They cannot then improvise based on a riff that somebody might have and things of that nature. So, and I feel like that's how the world is literally trained for a lot of things that, are happening in life. I don't know how you feel about that. It's just,
no, I couldn't agree more. We're teaching people how to do specific tasks instead of teaching people how to learn how to do specific tasks. Does that make sense?
That's the thing that I was looking for. Absolutely. Yeah. And people can't go outside of the lane that they've been taught.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I've seen on YouTube when you call them a conductor, right? He's busy doing the symphony and everything else. And then maybe he coughs or something like that, and everybody stops because they don't know what the next thing is.
So interesting, right? Yeah, they're just playing the song by rote instead of being like, okay, no, let's go with it. Let's go with it, you know? But also, like, in that certain situation, all you are as a performer is a cog within the machine. That's all you are. When your conductor is going, they're the ones that are really performing the music because they're directing you as the performer. You're just as the musician are just the instrument for the conductor to play that music, you know? So it is a very interesting sort of relationship, and by golly, do I love it. I actually really love that experience of simply falling into being the cog in an orchestra. I love it. I have such a great time with it because you lose a sense of self. You become a part of a whole, and you're not really a human anymore. You're simply an instrument for the sound to be produced. And that's all you really care about at that moment. It's a really cool experience, but again, I think I'd rather have my experience in my piano bar than that, because I have a direct one-to-one relationship with the audience when I'm playing at my piano bar than when I'm playing in an orchestra. It's a whole different experience.
I can imagine. Now, Patrick, I kind of feel like you're literally giving people back to themselves. Okay, if we can use a scenario of you having spent all that 8 years trying, I can imagine, trying to get it right, and all the grounding and all that pressure that was put on you as a kid and everything else. Whereas now you're giving people somewhat of an out where, okay, there you are. All you got to do is X, Y, and Z, follow through, stay in flow, and you will come out winning on the other end. And I feel like it's a gift that you're giving people here.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Of course I think it's a gift, but like I would never say it myself. So I really appreciate that perspective. Thank you.
Okay. For those that are maybe looking to get started and, just maybe perfect whatever they already have, or actually get started on a journey to learning the piano, what would be the best way that they could get started, Patrick?
Take a gander at our website, see if you're interested in the process. Highly recommend starting the free trial, seeing if you like it. Right now, you do have to have a computer or a laptop and a MIDI compatible keyboard, MIDI, M.E.D.I.A, which is it's music interface digital information is what it is. It's the keyboard has to send information to your computer through a MIDI cable. So right now we do have a little bit of a technical limitation on that. So if you're interested in a MIDI keyboard, or if you don't have a cable, hit me up, give me a call, shoot me a text. I'm not going to, we'll talk about all of that later, but send us an email, please. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you need any help getting all the technical necessities to be able to play MuseFlow right now, I'm here for it. I'm here to help. So, let us know what you think. We've got a discount code for you. For your audience, Prosper, right? We're looking at Prosperity50 is the discount code, and that gets you 50% off for life. So it's not a lifetime membership, but it gets you 50% off for the duration of your subscription, whether that's monthly, a 3-month bundle, or the annual subscription. 50% off isn't nothing. So we're happily give that to you and your audience, Prosper.
I will actually thank you so much for that. I think I'll actually take you up on that as well, just so I can just surprise a lot of people later on in life, just going on at it.
I'd love to hear what you think. I really would love to hear what you think.
Right.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's so exciting building something that people are loving. I'm honored and thrilled. And so, thank you for letting me share some thoughts with you.
Absolutely. But Patrick, I'm from what you're talking, I heard you talk about your team. I heard you talk about your sister, and I heard you talk about Randy, but I didn't hear you talk about your security, because you're disrupting an industry that other people are really holding on to keep the tradition alive. I mean, how beefed up is your security when they come knocking and saying, hey, you leave our tradition alone?
I hope that they can understand the value and they can see the value. Our security is great. We actually have a security specialist that is working on MuseFlow with us. He's a great guy. He is very, very good at what he does. So we're lucky to actually have
I meant
somebody.
muscle power,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We are lucky to be able to have all of our stuff locked down, and it's already all patented anyway. So like our curriculum is patented, like
Right.
all of that stuff, and the technology that we use to implement MuseFlow, that's all patented as well. So we're all good on security. But I do hope that people who are steeped in the tradition of teaching your instrument, teaching piano, I hope that they can understand that we're not trying to take away your jobs. We're trying to get you to a place where you can enjoy teaching in your lessons faster and better and more effectively. We're, again, only teaching how to technically play the instrument. The rest is up to you. The rest of why and how and crescendos, decrescendos, musicianship, that's up to the teacher, or that's up to the self-learner, you know? So it's totally up to whomever you are. All we're trying to do is democratize the ability to play an instrument, because that has been steeped in tradition since day one. That is stuck in the past. We're trying to make that a lot easier and a lot more gratifying for people to learn the instrument, not to be a musician. If you can recontextualize your job as a teacher from being an instrument teacher, learner, like you're teaching the instrument, versus teaching how to be a musician, that is going to be a lot more enriching. That's a lot more enriching for me. That's a lot more enriching for my co-founder, who is a music teacher and he uses MuseFlow. It's one of those things that's like he's reframing his job, and it's become a lot more fun for him. And the other teachers that use MuseFlow as well, they've noticed a change. They're getting their students to a place of being able to play their instrument faster so that they can focus on musicianship inside their lessons. How cool is that? I love it. And I think if you're stuck in your myopic view of what a music teacher is, then you're not seeing the benefits, and there's nothing that I can really do to kind of help that. There really isn't. So that's a loss in my opinion, but it's worth it because revolutions don't happen overnight and we're here for the long haul. So
Absolutely. And this one is actually being televised on the Online Prosperity Show. So don't touch that dial. But Patrick, I know we are obviously trying to run away from tradition here, but I wanted us to go back in time a little bit to that Patrick who was grounded and obviously was being told to sit and do your homework and do your music because you wanted to do this and stuff like that. But knowing what you know now, if you could just whisper some sweet nothings into that little boy's ear while he's crying and busy tapping onto the keyboards, what would you say to him right now, knowing what you know about what you've created and the journey that you've taken?
I think two things. I would definitely say it'll be all worth it in the end. And number two, I would definitely tell him earlier that there's a better way. I'd be like, you're wasting your time on perfecting this one specific song. Quit lessons now so that you can then focus on your true learning, which is going to happen after you quit lessons. After your teacher retires, your teacher's going to retire, and then your true education is going to start. And that's what I would tell him. I'd be like, it might be time for you to stop with these private lessons, and here's how you can actually learn on your own. It's through improvisation. It's through grabbing the little minuscule little bits and truly embodying that. Do that, and you'll find a lot more joy, and you'll get there a lot faster.
Fantastic. Well, I can't thank you enough for obviously sharing your inspiring journey and the innovative work that you're doing with MuseFlow there, Patrick. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing and all the unlocks that you're going to make for a lot more people that are probably stuck and don't know what their next key would be, really.
That's the goal, man. Thank you so much for having me. You're fantastic. You're great conversation.
I appreciate that. And for our listeners, you heard that right. Patrick said we have the best conversations here, which means you need to be subscribed to the Online Prosperity Show. But if you found value in today's episode, I want you to consider sharing this with somebody who's probably finding it difficult to learn an instrument or learn the piano. And I think this will be something that they can also not only learn how to actually then embody the music, but also just the different perspective of what it is that they're trying to achieve. All right. And this might actually save them a lot of time, money, and effort, because 8 years is a long time to try and, go through something that you could actually accomplish in a very short amount of time. And as Patrick has offered, if you go to the website, I will put the link below. He has graciously provided us with a discount code, Prosperity50, where you're going to be receiving 50% off your subscription for life. I would definitely be grabbing that with both arms and legs. And just don't miss an opportunity to, be, do, and have happier existence, or have other people celebrate your success, especially in the music front. Until next time, can't wait to hear your compositions. Bye for now.